Yes, Charleston White is correct. I'm a rapper, not a dealer. Be sure to catch my new show, 50 Cent, 50 Weight.
To my homie, F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino, it's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big.
50 Cent just humiliated Big Meech after reports started to circulate.
I see that Meech home concert got the streets talking. The biggest Meech home, the streets back. That's what I'm talking about. That's how real niggas come home and get it.
Which $120 million deal did Rick Ross allegedly defraud him of?
50, who own your masters? Who own your masters? I buy your masters. You ready? I will buy your masters.
Ross had been talking endlessly about great movie projects and huge opportunities, but in the end, he offered nothing. Meech now appears poor and embarrassed, while 50 turns his name into pure entertainment for the world to see.
Yeah, so look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director?
It is so absurd that some fans are even saying that the only way this drama can stop is if Meech fights 50 in the boxing ring. Imagine the headline. Big Meech genuinely thought that once he got off the streets, his comeback would be legendary. Then Rick Ross joined in with what seemed like a dream come true. Promises. The receipts support his claims of a $120 million movie deal, massive projects, and other things. In a video clip, Ross makes those bold claims very clear. When Meech finally seemed ready to leverage his status as a street legend, Ross handed him nothing but smoke and mirrors. He essentially exploited Meech's name to boast about 50, his longtime rival, without really offering anything.
To my homie, F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino, it's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big.
Was funding Lil Meech's acting lessons and providing him with the chance to shine, thus bringing the BMF play to life. Do not assume that 50 Cent is merely stating that his close friends and family endorse it. Tony Yayo unabashedly explained everything. According to reports, Big Meech is now angry, broke, and finally understanding that Rick Ross only teamed up with him to mock him as their dispute continues to worsen. The ultimate disgrace, as Meech appears to be a pawn in someone else's trivial dispute rather than leveling up. You would think Lil Meech would stay away after those released texts in which he was purportedly yelling F Ross. Nope. A few days later, he is seen on tape hanging out at the club with Rick Ross as if they were best friends. Make sense of it. With the entire area illuminated by red lights, the viral video had Lil Meech and Ross side by side, whispering in each other's ears, posing for pictures, and grinning broadly. Instead of a rivalry, it appeared to be a reunion. Naturally, you were aware that 50 Cent was not going to tolerate that. Using one of his trademark troll jokes, he went online and said that Ross had asked Lil Meech to provide him with his father's address so that he could send some Wingstop wings. Savage. In essence, 50 was suggesting that Ross is only giving Meech leftovers from fast food and is not constructing anything for him. And wait until you hear this if you felt that was cruel. Suddenly, 50 revealed in a since-deleted post that he had to personally send Lil Meech to treatment. Everyone was taken aback by such discovery. Since it was now extracting receipts from behind the scenes, it was no longer merely trolling. 50 threw caution to the wind with the details. He claimed that during a weapons test, Lil Meech was showing up to set highs so intense that he puked. As if it were not crazy enough, his pickup was purportedly found to have whippets. 50 even joked that he had to Google the definition of whippets since he did not know what they were. He presented a complete image of himself taking charge and attempting to maintain Lil Meech's focus, while Meech's own father was out there encouraging the same harmful behaviors. And keep in mind that Lil Meech even had himself arrested at an airport, So this is not just chatter. That alone speaks volumes about the anarchy that is occurring. After 50 made all of this public, people began to doubt everything. Was 50 really able to keep Lil Meech's career from collapsing before it had even begun? And why in the world is Meech now becoming close to Rick Ross, if that is the case? Everything was simply not adding up. Then, suddenly, a different voice interrupted, making the situation much more unpleasant. The guy that everyone knows as Tariq from Power, Michael Rainey Jr., went live and did not hold back for a second. When a fan asked him if he felt sorry for Lil Meech, Michael responded in a harsh manner, rather than sidestepping the issue or trying to be politically acceptable. Without any filter, he expressed exactly what was on his mind. Of course, who do you suppose laughed and reposted the clip? It went viral on social media. That is right, 50 Cent himself. He even went one step farther and echoed Michael's remarks in his caption, essentially endorsing the entire situation. The message was clear. 50 was firmly supporting his Power star and promoting Meech's flimsy narrative more than before. Furthermore, the timing could not have been worse for Meech. It gave the impression that he was losing the respect of everyone in the 50s, not just his fans. In actuality, Big Meech's unsuccessful welcome back performance was the catalyst for all of this smoke. People anticipated fireworks and a huge comeback occasion filled with rap legends when Meech returned home. However, Meech chose to rely on Rick Ross rather than 50 in the mix, the man who actually made his story into a TV empire. There is also a video of them promoting the event, giving the impression that it will be one of the most renowned concerts ever. That was the final straw for 50. He blasted Meech on social media and accused him of making deals with the federal government. What about the fans? They began to doubt every aspect of Meech's reputation as a street legend, and his association with Rick Ross only served to further tarnish it. It appeared to the public that Meech had exchanged allegiance for influence, and 50 quickly turned that perception into reality with his frequent posts. The so-called comeback ended up being the precise time that people quit writing for Meech, rather than creating history with a spectacular return. Meech ultimately made the decision to clap back because his credibility was rapidly declining. Meech shared a vintage photo of himself with 50. He went one step farther and called him an internet gangster, essentially claiming that 50 is a keyboard warrior who only engages in online trolling. Rick Ross had no intention of being silent. He continued by making fun of 50 for being sour about his relationship with Big Meech. The entire situation was perceived by fans as a straightforward tag team move, with Ross co-signing Meech merely to further pique interest. Ross even made fun of 50 for being upset that Meech was standing next to him in one particular scene, as if it were all a single big joke at 50's expense. Ross was merely providing ostentatious picture ops, while 50 had genuinely offered Lil Meech genuine opportunity by investing in his acting career and placing him on the BMF show. Meech appeared more inclined to roll with Ross though, for some reason. The next outrageous rumor that Meech wanted to fight 50 for real was spurred by that discrepancy, which got the internet buzzing. The internet erupted in rumors of a potential boxing battle between 50 Cent and Big Meech, following the rat post and Ross's constant baiting. While some fans believed it would be epic, others found it depressing, claiming Meech had been down to using celebrity boxing as a means of gaining influence in order to prove his worth. However, Meech himself was the one who truly fanned the flames. In response to a question about whether he would ever swing back, he said that if the need arose, he would put on the gloves. The anecdote went viral on the internet, even though he may have been half joking when he told it. The boxing craze took off once it appeared on blogs. It was impossible to scroll without noticing it. Whack 100 arrived with a shocking theory that rocked the entire story. Whack claims that loyalty and Rick Ross were not the only factors in this feud. Secrets were at issue. Meech actually colluded with federal officials in other street instances, he said, according to Tammy Cowan, Meech's own confidant, who previously told 50. 50's entire snitch story really originated from Whack's hints that Big Meech was not quite as devoted to the streets as everyone thought. Whack did not stop there, though. He went one step farther and said that Meech's confidant, Tammy, might have had her own reasons for betraying him. Perhaps she was tired of him attempting to reclaim his life rights, the same rights he had previously negotiated with 50 for the BMF series, or perhaps she felt abandoned while he was in prison. The possibility that the guy closest to Meech was surreptitiously feeding 50 ammunition the entire time puts him in a difficult situation if any of that is accurate. Additionally, Whack's framing of it gave the impression that it was a combination of betrayal and bad business, which is a dangerous combination in this game. When Big Meech made an appearance sporting Kanye West's famous graduation jacket, It became one of the most viral moments. At first glance, it appeared to be a mere flex, a gaudy fit. However, the symbolism was immediately recognized by the internet. During their head-to-head sales fight in 2007, that record famously outsold 50. While some fans dismissed it as a coincidence, others thought Meech did it on purpose, as if he was taking advantage of his former allies' defeats from the past to make fun of him. In any case, the timing gave the impression that Meech was focusing more on negative publicity than clearing his name. However, if you believe that the Kanye jacket incident was the height of the trolling, you would be mistaken. It merely paved the way for the subsequent uproar. Big Meech of being out of touch and of pursuing influence rather than repairing his name. People were laughing at him like he was the punchline of his own narrative instead of showing sympathy as the atmosphere quickly changed. Then came 50's next move, posting another petty but deadly image, this time contrasting Big Meech's failing concert flyers with the cast of his BMF series. The message is as obvious as day. You tried and failed, but I made your story famous. It was brutal, and memes went viral online, making Meech's return a complete farce. To further irritate 50, Rick Ross continued to add gasoline to the flames by liking dubious postings, leaving comments, and even implying that he could include Meech in a music video. Clowns began to joke that Ross was treating Meech more like a prop than a partner, yet Meech continued to appear around him. He appeared to be being used as a pawn in someone else's game, and the optics were absolutely awful. As all of this chaos was developing, rumors began to circulate that 50 was not finished yet, and that he still had more receipts in his possession. According to some insiders, he had direct contracts and text messages that might reveal the full extent of Meech's relationship with Ross. This saga has not even reached its peak yet, if that is accurate. At the moment, it seems like 50 is controlling the scoreboard, Ross is cheering, and Big Meech is playing defense. Fans quickly made the connection that 50 Cent was in negotiations to release an open-minded documentary on the BMF story that would not only concentrate on the empire. They claimed that this was 50's grand scheme all along, to control the narrative and deny Meech a role in his own history. This is where it became even more ugly. According to insiders, Rick Ross was rushing to create his own counter-project, attempting to create a showy docuseries in the vein of Meech and Rose. Online critics, however, did not agree. They claimed that Ross just had Meech's name to ride off with and that he lacked the receipts. The comparisons began to flow, with Ross providing picture ops, 50 presenting actual productions, and Meech caught in the midst, appearing unsure of how to proceed. According to reports, 50 liked a fan's comment that stated, "Meech picked the wrong side of history, which only served to fuel the fire." That one went viral on blogs and demonstrated that 50 was not going to back down anytime soon. Meech was beginning to appear to be the player with the worst plan, as every small move was examined like a chess game. As if the documentary rumors were not enough, there were speculations that 50 had more unreleased behind-the-scenes videos of Lil Meech that, if they ever came to light, could severely harm his reputation. Fans were buzzing over the potential that 50 was hoarding nuclear-level receipts, whether or not that was genuine. If 50 does release that documentary, the game is finished. Typically, 50 would have been the first to post a vicious meme, screenshot a crazy posture, or criticize a ridiculous outburst. And because of that stillness, many believed that something was wrong and that 50 was purposefully holding back, conserving his ammunition for something much more important. Because if you know 50, you know that he is normally loading a significantly heavier shot when he skips a roast. 50 stares at Meech as if she were obsessed. The majority of rap feuds end within a few weeks, but Meech, each move elicits a reaction. Each slip is amplified, and each partnership is turned into a weapon. This is considered personal betrayal by some. 50 supported Lil Meech, put money into him, and placed him on, only to see him go close to his fiercest opponent, Rick Ross. 50 wants to thoroughly destroy everyone who dares to oppose him, not simply win. It will not simply be entertainment if this dispute ever makes the leap from Instagram posts to the boxing ring. It will be the explosive conclusion to a beef that has already gotten out of hand. While one man appears intent on destroying his legacy for amusement, the other is out here attempting to save it. Additionally, the manner this storm is developing makes it seem more like the next inevitable event than a rumor. Drop your thoughts in the comments section below.